Yeah, like Mike was saying, this Nabisco is owned by a corporation called Mondelez International. And about a year ago, they announced that they were thinking about making an investment in these super ovens and this new plant that they were going to build in Salinas, Mexico. And that if that would happen, then they would have to lay off around 600 workers in the Chicago Nabisco plant. And for us to stop that from happening, we would have to make concessions of $46 million a year in perpetuity forever, which equates to about 60% of workers' wages and benefits in that Chicago plant, which is a ridiculous ask. They knew we couldn't do it, and that's in addition to the fact that they were trying to bargain individually with the Chicago plant in a situation where the union has always had a national contract with all of the Mondelez plants in the country. So the union obviously had to say no. We can't concede $46 million every year forever to you for just the chance that you're not going to make this investment in Salinas, Mexico, and move all this work down. So in January, they made the announcement. They said, we're laying off 600 people. We're sending the production down to Mexico, and you can basically deal with it. And then, the contract was then set to expire at the end of February. We were going to go back into contract negotiations at that point. So since then, we've been engaged in this campaign to fight back against that initial decision to outsource the work, and now to kind of stop the layoffs as they were happening, and now to bring back the ones that have already been laid off. Since March 23rd, that's when the first wave of layoffs happened. 277 people were laid off on March 23rd. There was another round, over 500 people in total, including BCTGM and other union workers have been laid off in just those few months. And all of that work has been sent to Salinas, Mexico. So before, I just want to give a little bit of context about what the campaign is and what we're doing and how we're fighting it, where we hope it's going to go. And then Anthony can give a little more first-hand information. But first, we started kind of with a lot of ground actions. We'd rallies at the plant. We had protests in downtown Chicago. The CEO was speaking at certain events. We actually brought a busload of people to her house because she lives just north of Chicago. And we had press conferences with local, Chicago City councilmen, state senators. Hillary Clinton came and talked to us in our campaign office, and a representative from the Bernie Sanders campaign came. We did a press conference with them. From there, we kind of started a legal aspect of the campaign. We filed a charge with the Equal Employment Opportunities Commission, which alleged that they had discriminated based on age, race, and national origin. The plant in Chicago is about a third African American, a third Latino, a third white. I think 70%, it's a majority over the age of 40. And that is still actually being investigated months later. These things, I guess, take a long time. We also filed a submission with the U.S. Department of Labor alleging that this corporation, Mondelez, violated NAFTA and how they decided to send the work to Mexico based on different things. There's provisions in NAFTA that say if you're sending union work from the U.S. to another country, it's got to go to a place where workers have the right to organize. And in Mexico, they have basically government unions that allow companies to have their own company unions. And the plant this Mondelez plant in Salinas has a company union, which basically isn't even a union because it works for the company inside the plant. And that is also still ongoing. Since then, we've kind of branched out into what we're doing right now, and why we're here talking to you guys right now. We have an AFL-CIO endorsed boycott of Made in Mexico Nabisco products. Anthony's going to talk more about that. But basically, we're boycotting specifically Made in Mexico Nabisco products because we don't want to, there's still a lot of U.S. union workers making this stuff in the U.S., and we don't want to harm them by boycotting everything. But we also want to make the outsourcing of the work and then people buying it, make the actual Mexican production of Nabisco unprofitable. Because in addition to kind of stopping the layoffs, bringing back a lot of these jobs, I think Mike was saying a little bit about this, but we want this is a fight that is not only winnable, but when we win it and when we can bring jobs back and say that we actually beat a $35 billion a year corporation trying to outsource manufacturing jobs, that also that, you know, we did it as consumers, that the money that we spent more, you know, the way that we spent our money beat this corporation. And so we're pushing that boycott now in this kind of national consumer education tour.